Hey everybody, Steve Borey here from the Jackpot Gents. I am part of the Jackpot Gents, and the other half is my son, Matt Borey.
How's it going, everybody?
Today we have a special guest. We originally started out doing the American Casino Guide book, and we did a lot of research on slot machines. We have a special guest today to talk about that subject, and he is a former slot tech. So we're going to get a lot of input from him, and he has his own YouTube channel at Cowboy Slots, and his name is Brantley Pop. Matt, did you want to introduce Brantley?
Yeah, so this is Brantley. We met him because we did a video on his channel, sort of debunking some of the myths and talking about myths and stuff, fallacies that people believe about slot machines. So we're having him on our channel now, and his channel's taken off. So make sure you go give him a subscribe. He's got great content. How are you doing today, Brantley?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I guess let's just hop right into it. The first question is, what made you want to be a slot tech?
Well, really, for me, I was just always interested in how things worked and how slot machines worked. I originally had started in my garage. I had bought my own slot machine and started working on them. And one machine turned into two, turned into five. And then I eventually opened my own business where I bought, sold, and repaired slot machines. And from there went on to work for several different casinos. So it was just kind of something I was interested in and started at home and then got my way in the door into the casino industry.
Yeah, I can see your collection behind you there.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I've got just three older S2s, and then I've got a Bally Alpha right here, and that's all I have left out of from the store.
Now, were you a gambler yourself?
I was actually. I used to gamble very frequently, and then once I started working in the casino industry, it really kind of changed my perspective a little bit. I started learning about how to better gambling because I was looking at it from not only just the gambler's perspective, but also from the employee's perspective and from the tech perspective as well. So I picked up a lot of different methods and tips and stuff like that to help better my own gambling, and then solidified that through actually working through the casinos. So yes, I did. I gambled quite frequently.
All right, and then is there like a formal education? Did you have to go to school to be a slot tech, or what did you have to do to start working in the casino? What kind of prerequisites were there?
So there really isn't. I mean, so when you go to work for the casino, they do want to see at least some technical background. Obviously, me owning my own business and having already worked with these machines and being able to verify my work that way really helped get my foot in the door. But for somebody out there that may not have all the technical background, there is not a school for it per se. But what you can do, and what I recommend, is get your foot in the door working in other aspects of the slot department or other aspects of the casino. And then you can kind of work into that field, work into that tech field by just learning and being there. And the casino themselves will train you individually, or they will send you off to training with the manufacturers.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned no formal training, because here in South Florida, just about a mile from our house, is a
technical college.
Yeah, technical college, Sheridan Vocational, and they were offering a slot tech training course. I was thinking about taking it myself, but I think it was about 6 months long. Just out of curiosity. I didn't want to work at the casinos, but I was curious about how the inner workings of all this. But and I don't know if they still have it. I think they may have it, but they moved it to a different school elsewhere in our county. But that's probably one of the few places in the country where you can do that. But a question for you
really
is,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I took a different class at Sheridan Tech. I learned how to work on computers at that same school. That was one of the strictest things I've ever seen. You had to pass a background check to even set foot in the classroom. If you had any kind of criminal background at all, you were not allowed to set foot in that classroom. So they were very, very strict about it there.
Hey, how many casinos did you work at when you were in your slot tech career?
I worked for a total of 3.
And then I guess so. Because there's at the casino near us, they have the Hard Rock. They call them the red shirts and the black shirts. The red shirts are the people that come out and just pay you for your hand pays or your jackpots, or like they'll refill the papers, and the black shirts are the people that actually like have to assemble the machines and everything. And they kind of, I think it's a catch-all term. Everybody calls them all slot techs, but like which, were you one of the more technical people that didn't interact much with the general population, or were you one of the people doing the hand pays? What exactly were you doing?
No, so I was on the tech side.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the tech side. Now, some casinos, like the casinos that we have here in Wyoming, they're not distinguished. So the techs actually do everything here. So they do the attendance side plus the tech side, and there's a lot of smaller casinos that will do that as well. So really, the techs and the attendants kind of go hand in hand. They work together a lot of times. The casino that I worked at, the techs and the attendants worked together. The techs had the ability to, do guest service questions and stuff like that, just the same as the attendants would.
Now, if you spend a lot of time in casinos, when you walk around, you sometimes see them, they're putting in new machines. And a lot of times they'll have this paperwork attached to the machine. I'm always curious. I want to go over and look at that paperwork. So when your casino, one of the casinos you worked at, they were putting in new machines, what was the procedure to do that? And what was the paperwork that you would see attached to those machines?
Right. So I can only speak about the casinos that I've worked at in particular. And typically when we got in new machines, those were something that were, the new machines were actually installed by the manufacturer's field techs. So the casinos have their own in-house slot techs, but a lot of people don't know that manufacturers actually have their own slot techs that are called field techs. So they might be like, even though IGT, is based in Nevada, we could have field techs in Wyoming or Colorado or anywhere like that. And these are IGT employees that are based here that would actually come out. So when a casino does get brand new machines from the factory, it's actually those guys that come out and they set it up and install it. And then they train us on how to maintain it and kind of keep it going. So that's one method. And that's the method that I'm more familiar with as in terms of bringing in brand new machines, is we kind of hand it off to those field techs to do, and then they walk us through how to maintain the machine and what to look for and so on and so forth. And then we also have to verify and double check that everything is meeting those legal requirements. The gaming commissioner commissions has to be present. The management has to be present. There's a lot of people that have to be present when machines are getting worked on in general, or when brand new machines are getting installed.
So what were your day-to-day responsibilities as a slot tech?
Right. So the day-to-day responsibilities are relatively simple. You come in, you collect your, you get your keys, you get your, all your materials that you need. And typically there's either work that needs done in back. There's machines that have been taken off of the floor that need worked on. Most of the time it's very simple stuff. You're doing things like fixing small errors, if there's a tilt or anything like that, just maintaining regular maintenance of the machines. Or there's other tasks that we would have to do. So if there was a slot tournament going on, getting the machines ready for a slot tournament, or having to relocate a machine on the floor or anything like that. So there's a lot of it's mostly smaller tasks that you do just normally throughout the day, and then there's those occasional bigger tasks that you would do.
Now let me ask you this. I got a two-part question here for you.
Yeah.
Because in the years that I've done research, speaking to slot people in the industry, it seems like casinos don't very often change the payback percentages on their machines. They pretty much have a certain amount in mind that they want to make off the machines, and they're all sort of set within that particular range. So question number one is, how often were the payback chips percentages changed? And number two, what is the procedure for when you did that?
So this is a topic that I really try to hit hard on my channel, and I try to explain to a lot of people in various videos. And also I've done an interview with our gaming commissioner, and that's on my channel as well. And we covered this a little bit. And the thing that people don't understand and realize is the actual payback percentage of those machines, the casino never changes. They get set once when the machine comes on the floor, and that's it. The only time that it would ever need to be changed is if there was a legal regulation change or something like that. The casinos do not, and they don't need to change the payback percentage for events or days of the week, or, oh, this machine is closer to the buffet, so we're going to set it to this. No, none of that is true. None of that happens. And the thing is it doesn't need to happen, because those machines are built to make a profit for the house no matter what. From the day they are built in the factory, they're built to make a profit. So it doesn't matter what that number is set at. It's always going to make a profit for the casino. So the casino chooses a number, they set the machine on the floor, and the machine does its job. That's it. There's no special tricks. The casino doesn't need to, and they also don't want to go through and change it. As for the process of changing it, should it ever come up where the casino wants to change it, it is a very extensive and long process. And this is actually another thing that was brought up in my interview with the gaming commissioner. A lot of people don't realize the keys to actually change the odds on the slot machine are not kept at the casino. They're kept off-site. They're actually kept at the gaming commission's office. What happens is the casino has to file a request to change the odds. Then it goes to the commission, they review it. It can take 5 to 7 days for them to review it. They approve it. Then you have to go pick up the keys, and then somebody from the commission has to stay with the key at all times. So that key cannot leave their possession. So then the key gets there, they go up to the one machine or bank of machines or whatever that they want to change the odds on. And then once it's changed, they have to give the key right back to the commissioner. The commissioner has to sign off on it. There has to be like 4 or 5 people present. It's a big process. And it's not something, that's why, I mean, honestly, I got to laugh. And I know a lot of people that work in the casino, we have to laugh about this too. When people say, oh, they're going to change the odds at 3 p.m. or, oh, the buffet is going to serve shrimp today, so we're going to change the odds for that. No, that doesn't happen. It's an extremely long process, and it's very, very detailed. And it's not something that can be done at the flip of a switch.
Speaking of that, so just as a quick rundown, in case people don't understand how slot machines work, the payback is stored on a completely separate chip on the computer or on the slot machine. And then that is, in order to change the payback, they have to change that chip on the computer, which I guess I didn't know was locked into place by keys at the gaming commission. That makes a lot of sense, though. Now, we had a video we did probably a decade ago at this point, talking about a new type of technology called server-based gaming, where all of that information was instead kept on a server, a central server, and then was relayed out to all of the slot machines. And at the time, it was not very popular. I've heard over and over that it's not very popular. So have you ever worked in a casino or heard of a casino that is actually run with true server-based gaming?
So yes, I have. One of the casinos that I did work at was a class two facility, which is bingo-based gaming. However, I will say this, you are 100% correct. Server-based gaming is not very popular. A lot of people think that server-based gaming is everywhere and that the machines are controlled by a server, and that is simply not true. Does server-based gaming exist? Yes, but it's really only in class 2 facilities. In a class 3 facility, it's not going to be server-based or server controlled. So it's mostly common in those class 2 facilities simply because those games have to rely on some kind of a bingo-based server or anything like that. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the player's card and the player system, yes, and that is a separate system entirely. So the machine is connected to a network, but not the logic portion of the game. The actual logic portion that controls the gameplay, the odds, all of that, that is not connected to any kind of a server. So in a class 3 facility, the only server connection would be for things like player's card or linked progressives or anything like that. But no, server-based gaming is not very common or popular at all.
Now, one thing about that, though, I think that there are class 3 facilities that do have server-based gaming, but they're operated by this. There's several states where the casinos operated by the state's lottery commission.
Right.
And all
those,
of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those work entirely different on the lottery system.
But again, in those situations, the machines in the casino have to go through the lottery system. So that is a server-based game, but there's only a few states that do that. Now, one question I did years ago, I did an interview with some regulators in New Jersey, and I was always curious about what I had heard that, these chips are taped into place in case they could tell if someone has tampered with a chip. But at that time, they said that, well, the only time they ever tape them in place was on big jackpots, on like wide area progressives with these $100,000, $1 million jackpots. Have you ever worked on any of those kind of machines? And if so, were those chips taped into place? Do you know?
Absolutely. In fact, I can show you. Give me 1 second, and I will grab one of the boards out of my slot machine, and I can actually show you guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I had heard that all of the chips are taped in place, but they said they don't bother with that, just on those high games, high jackpot games. Sure.
So this is the logic board. This is out of a IGT S2000. So this is from a double triple stars machine. Typically speaking, so when this slides in, you're going to have security tape right here. And what happens is, obviously this is, since been peeled off over the years, but they have a number listed there on the board. What's going to happen is anytime that there's a major jackpot or anything, they need to open the machine, and they're going to verify that that seal is not broken and that the number on that seal matches the number that was recorded. Now, some casinos can take it a step further, and I don't have it here on this board, but some casinos can take it a step further, and they can actually put the tape over the chips. So these are the game chips right here, and this is the stepper base chip. So if you want to change the odds on the slot machine, you actually have to remove this chip right here and put what's called a key chip in place. And then once you key it, you actually remove the key, put this chip back in, and that's what allows you to access the menu. And most slot machines, so I know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's an older machine. However, they still work like this. Still the same process. It's just now, instead of one of these chips, it's like a USB key or, a flash drive or something like that. That's the only difference. But it still requires manual presence to be able to change all of that stuff. But yes, there are a lot of casinos that they will actually put the tape physically over these chips right here. But most just use the side of the board right there.
Okay, one other question on the same topic, please. I've also heard that besides the tape, that if there's a large jackpot, say it's on a IGT machine, $1 million jackpot, they will bring techs in, and they have to pull the chip and make sure that the result in the chip matches the result that's shown on the screen or the reels, to make sure that there wasn't some sort of malfunction.
Yep, that is correct. So on I believe you're referring to wide area progressives.
Yes.
So a lot of people see like those mega bucks or like the big Wheel of Fortune jackpots. So those are wide area progressives. They're shared with machines all across the country. That jackpot is actually not paid out or controlled by the casino. It's paid out by IGT. So what happens is when that jackpot hits, they have to bring in their own techs and their own people to verify it. It's kind of a lengthy process. I've actually had the opportunity to speak with a couple people that have hit those wide area progressives on Wheel of Fortune. And one thing they told me is, it takes several days to get paid, and then it's paid out in an annuity. It's paid out in payments. They don't give you a lump sum. Or I think they might have a lump sum option, but it's a lot less. So yes, there's a very long process to pay out those wide area progressives. So if you hit one of those mega million or mega bucks or anything like that, you plan to wait a while, because you're not going to get the money right away.
Probably better. Doesn't go burning a hole in your pocket right away.
Right.
Now, what was the procedure like? Because you see these stories online all the time where like somebody is playing a machine and it says they won $1 million jackpot, and then it turns out they didn't, and the casino just gives them a steak dinner or something to make up for it. Did you ever have to open a machine to resolve a problem at all, ever?
In terms of payouts, a problem with the payout, no, that's extremely it's very uncommon and unlikely for a machine to malfunction and, you know, display a win that is inaccurate. Does it happen? Yes. These are still machines. They do malfunction. Stuff can happen to them.
It's
I
that
did a
sticker
video.
that you see on every single
Yeah.
slot machine: malfunction voids all
Yeah.
wins, or all pays and all plays.
Exactly. And I actually did I did a video on my channel explaining the process of what a player should do if they ever find themselves in that situation, because there is a process to go through. There's, you know, a step-by-step guide on what to do if you ever find yourself in that position. So that's a great video, but it's extremely uncommon and unlikely for that to happen. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it happening at any of the casinos that I've worked at. I've heard of it happening, but not anywhere close to me personally.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't understand is I've read all the news articles about that. You know, I'm sure all three of us have read all the news articles. And a lot of times from what I read is that it seems that like somebody will be playing on a machine that has a max payout of like $1,000 or $2,000, and the malfunction says that, you know, they won $1 million. And that's what I see is most of it. And everybody's like, oh, the casino's ripping the person off. But if you're on a slot machine and it says it's a $10,000 max and you hit $1 million jackpot, I mean, yeah, when you realize you're not winning $1 million, it's gonna suck. But I mean, at the same time, you should know if the screen says you're getting paid $1 million and the pay table on the top says the most you could ever win is 2,000 or 10,000, whatever, you know, might be a good idea to pump the brakes on that excitement. So that's what a lot of people like.
Right.
I believe they're like, generally, if it malfunctions, it's going to be a very large malfunction like that. From what I've most of the popular articles I've read, I think, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not like it's you hit the max jackpot for 100,000 and it was actually that, and this casino's like, oh no, we don't want to pay you, you know, we don't have enough money on hand to pay this person, we're gonna say it malfunction. That's not how this works. I want to just emphasize that.
But wait, they'll give you a free buffet instead of your instead of your
Hey,
$1
some of
million.
those buffets can be good.
Yeah, free buffet for two.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. So Matt and I we do a lot of, like I said, research on slot machines, and we always hear these crazy stories that people have these crazy theories. Let us ask you let's say the top three. What would you say the top three myths are when it comes to slot machines that the general public has?
The top three myths that, well, you know, and let me preface with this. So there's a lot of myths and a lot of rumors out there, and I try to explain to people, you know, a lot of these come from, you know, years and years past, and the fact that the casino is a very quiet industry. They're not very open. They don't talk a lot. They keep their operations secret, and so it gives people time to stew and think, and, you know, like, oh well, they're doing something shady. I've worked in the casino industry for many years. You know, all those secret back rooms that people talk about, or, oh, you know, the secret server room where they have the magic switch. I've been in those rooms, and I can tell you they're not very impressive. As for top three myths that I would cover, number one, guys, I cannot stress this enough. The casino does not remotely control your gameplay at all. They don't do it through your player's card. They're not watching you to see you play. You know, and I'll just say this: the casino has bigger fish to fry than you. They do. You know, I'm not, you know, not to be rude, but the world does not revolve around you as an individual. When you walk into a casino and you bring your, you know, $1,000 or a couple $100 to play, the casino really is not watching you. They're going to watch the guy at the blackjack table that brought in $100,000. They're concerned about that. They're not concerned about, you know, Bob and Sue playing on the slot machine. They're not, and they can't control it. So that's like myth number one is, guys, you know, the casino is not out to screw you. They're not out to control your game, and they don't control your game, period. No matter what, you can believe anything you want to, but the system just isn't there and it doesn't happen. The next myth is, the casino does not try to manipulate the games in any way or manipulate the floor against you. It's the most common thing that you hear people say all the time is, oh, the slots are looser by the front door, or they're looser by the buffet. And that's false. That's not true. The machines have a set percentage that is determined by the state and the governing agency, and that goes by the denomination. So all those quarter machines are going to have roughly the same type of percentage. It doesn't matter where they are on the floor. The machines in the high limit room, of course, they're going to pay back higher because their denominations are higher. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they're in this room. It has everything to do with the denomination and also, game types and stuff like that. The only time a casino will intentionally put machines by a buffet or a front door or a busy area is if it is a new machine, and most likely it's because they have an agreement with that manufacturer. So a lot of times, the casinos, new games will come out and a manufacturer will say, hey, we're going to take less of a percentage if you highlight our games and put it in the front of your casino. Oh, well, the casino's saving money, so of course they're going to follow what the manufacturer says, and all right, we'll highlight your game, we'll put it by the front door. That's why they end up there. It's not because they're looser, it's because there's marketing requirements. So just stuff like that, guys. The casino's floor is not manipulated against you in any way, shape, or form. And just being honest, if you honestly believe that the casino is out to get you, then why are you even going to the casino? Why would you even go? But those are some of the biggest myths that I would have. Can you win at the casino? Can you win at slot machines? You can. Are there things that you can do better to better your chances when you go into the casino? Yes, there are things that you can do to better your chances. There's not a magic trick to winning. There's not some kind of a deep, dark secret behind it, but there's things that you can do to better your play. Look for those low volatile games. Pay attention to your denomination, pay attention to your budget, learn how to read those pay tables. And that's what I try to get across to people is there are things that you can do to better your casino experience and to better your returns. And that's what I teach people. But there's no magic trick. And also, it's never a guarantee because it is still gambling at the end of the day. And yes, the house does still have the advantage no matter what you do. But there are things that you can do to better your play.
All right, Matt, did you listen there that he said low volatility games?
Yeah, but I have the bankroll. I have the bankroll to survive the swings on high volatility games. So I'm going for high volatility games, baby.
Well, see, I like low volatility. Matt likes high volatility, but I don't have the bankroll that Matt has. He's a wealthy man. But maybe I can throw in one more myth, and maybe Matt can add one. I go to the one where someone's playing a machine, they get up, they leave, someone else sits down, boom, they hit a jackpot, and I said that person stole my jackpot. Well, it's very unlikely that had you been sitting there, you would have won that same jackpot because it's all random. And when you push the button to spin the reels, the random number generator stops, and it's like, what, a hundredth of a second. So chances of you hitting that same button at the exact same hundredth of a second to get that same combination are very unlikely. So no, that person did not steal your jackpot.
100% correct.
And the one I'm going to go on is you had sort of touched on it a little bit, and that's just always my favorite one is the people say, oh, the games next to the doors pay back better, or the games on the end of the aisles pay back better. And the only reason that happens is because more people play them. You see more people hitting jackpots on those machines because there's more people playing them. Of course, the machine on the end of the aisle is going to get played more than the casino or the machine that you got to squeeze, and sort of sidestep your way down the aisle to get on in the middle of it. Of course, there's going to be less jackpots hit on that machine because less people play it. If you walk right in the front door and you sit down at the first machine you see, it's way easier to do that than it is to go all the way to the back of the casino and squeeze your way down an aisle and pick a random spot in the middle. That's my favorite one. Is just that everybody's like, oh, the ones at the entrances pay better, and that's just because you're seeing more people hit jackpots on them because more people play them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All right, one last thing here to wrap this up. Now you spent years in the casino working there. And everyone hears crazy stories about stuff happening in casinos. What kind of interesting stories do you have to share with us?
So one of the biggest things that we tend to see in the casino is people coming through with counterfeit currency. And believe it or not, one of the things that you learn is the most commonly counterfeited currency is the $10 bill, because a lot of people think that you're not going to check those $10 bills. Well, the casino does check them. They check everything. And it's funny because sometimes like somebody will be sitting at a slot machine, and I have a story of a guy was sitting at a slot machine, and he's like, oh, this machine's not reading my money. Okay, well, obviously we get the money and we're looking at it, and it's like, no, this is counterfeit. And then all of a sudden, security just comes in and attacks him. The other one that I had was
figuratively attack him.
Figuratively, not actually, but boom, like jumps on him. The other thing that is really common and a lot of people don't realize is if you are in any kind of a Gamblers Anonymous or gambling help or anything like that, anytime you're in the casino, it's considered trespassing because you get trespassed from the casino. And we had a gentleman who he came in and he was playing the slot machines and he won a pretty large, substantial jackpot. And the second he won the jackpot, he ran right out the door because he knew that if we saw he was there and we got his ID that he would be arrested for trespassing. So those are some interesting stories. So people do occasionally try some shady stuff at the casinos, but they get caught.
Yeah, I always say if there's ever a place that you are going to commit a crime, the casino is not the place to do it. There are cameras on you every square inch of every place you're going to go in there, with the exception of the bathrooms. So don't commit crimes, but if you're going to commit crimes, especially don't commit them in a casino, because you will get caught. All right, so one last question here is, it popped up in the comment section today. Somebody was asking if they should pay for a class on how to win on slots. And I want to get your thoughts, but I just want to hop in with my thoughts real quick. There is no magic way to win on slots. And if somebody found a way to win on slots, I guarantee you they would not be telling a soul about it. They would be at the casino 24/7, making as much money as they possibly could. They would not be selling it online to anyone. They would keep that secret very close to themselves. What do you have to say about that?
So you are 100% correct. And, it is very sad, guys. And I always tell people, always consider the source. If somebody is trying to sell you something, they're selling you a bag of tricks. There's no magic trick to winning at slots. Now, there are things that you can do to better your casino experience. There are things that you can do to try to walk away with a profit, how to identify the better machines, learn about slot machines, and all of that information is 100% free on my channel. I don't charge for it. There's other places that you can go to learn about it for free. But anytime somebody is trying to sell you something and say, oh, all of these industry experts are wrong, and I'll tell you why for just $2.99 or whatever, that should be a red flag, guys. If you talk to any casino expert out there, we're all on the same page. We are all on the same page. We all know how the slots work. We all can tell you the exact same information. But then you've got, a couple other people out there that say, oh no, all those experts, all those people that have actually worked in the casino are wrong. And I'll tell you why, for the low price of stop. That's not, it's not legitimate, guys. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. There's no kind of winning magic trick, and there's definitely not any winning strategies that you need to pay for. These machines are very basic and straightforward and simple, and we can tell you about the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, and that is all 100% free.
Okay, Brantley, if people want to get more information on you or your work, how would they do that?
Absolutely. So the best place to start would be my YouTube channel, which is Cowboy Slots. We're growing more and more every single day. And again, all of the content is 100% free. There's no classes to buy. There's no courses to buy. There's playlists on there about how you can identify the better paying slot machines and things to watch for in the casino, and kind of educating you about the casino. I also do have a website. It's ropethejackpot.com. I do have a casino guide on that website that you can actually look to see what class your casino is. for tribal casinos. And we also do events and meetups, and we make it a whole lot of fun on the Cowboy Slot channel. So check those both out, the channel and the website.
All right, Brantley, thanks very much for spending time with us today.
Absolutely.